Howdy, everyone. Thank you for listening and welcome to another episode of The Bat Signal. I'm your host, Kenzie Finch, and today we're going to be diving into the mysteries of sleep and how flies can be used to solve insomnia, and also talking about Korean ROTC students who are finding their place in Aggieland.
Hey Aggies, are you ready to win some money? Then download the Lucra Sports app right now. Lucra is the new social app for sports because with Lucra, you get to set the terms and compete against your friends and other real people. That's right, no more taking on the house that always wins, no more bookies shading the lines in their favor, and no more sharks just waiting to take your money. Just one-on-one sports action against your friends and fellow Aggies. Lucra offers all kinds of contests: NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. Heck, you can even challenge your friends on the next game of beer pong you're playing. With the NFL playoffs in full swing, there's no time like right now to race over to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the Lucra Sports app. That's Lucra, Lucra. Best of all, your contests against your friends are on us. Use promo code Aggies and Lucra will put $10 in free play right into your account upon signing up. No deposit required, just free money from Lucra Sports to get you started. The fun is already going on without you, so make sure you download Lucra Sports today.
I have Jack Lee with me today, the reporter for both these stories, to discuss his insights. Jack, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kenzie.
So first I wanted to ask you about your insomnia story you covered. Can you briefly explain the contents of your article?
Absolutely. So, we actually don't know very much about the genetics of sleep. We don't know why it happens. We don't know why we sleep. It's a big mystery. But we think Texas A&M scientists might have gone a little step further in trying to figure out why we sleep and what causes it. So, due to 23andMe, we got a lot of, genetic resources available that we didn't have previously. So, 23andMe asked people like, do you have insomnia? Do you have something like that? So, at the University of Pennsylvania, they got a list of 100 of these genes that, might cause insomnia based on these 23andMe studies. So, Texas A&M, we got a world-class animal testing lab. So, the University of Pennsylvania, they sent all these results to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M went into animals and edited their genetics to knock out some of these genes and see what would happen. And what we ended up finding out was that there was this one gene from that list called PIGQ, which caused, when we knock it down, when we kill it, it causes fruit flies to sleep a lot more. And since fruit flies and humans, they share the same sleep genes, it seems like, we think that it may be what also leads to insomnia in humans.
Okay. So something that particularly stood out to me in the article was the part where it mentions that animals have similar sleeping mechanisms and that there might be a connection between genes and sleep. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. So it's very complicated, genetic studies, but it's been a hot topic in the whole sleep field research for the past 20 years. Mike Young, kind of the founding father of this whole evolutionary perspective to it, is actually coming to A&M next year as a Hagler Fellow. He's going to be one of the few Nobel laureates on campus. He won the Nobel Prize for physiology a couple years ago. But circling back to the question you had, so for 20 years we've established that sleep genes and circadian rhythm genes, which is processing day and night, are conserved to an extraordinary amount between all animals. So it means that we probably evolved sleep. We probably evolved, circadian rhythm real early down the line, maybe a billion, maybe millions of years ago. And we just kept those for so long because for some reason, having sleep, having circadian rhythm provides a huge advantage in the natural world. So that applies to this current research because we think that flies, zebrafish, and humans, very different animals from our perspective, but from, a biological perspective, the way we sleep, the mechanisms, like the chemicals, the hormones that are going on in our brains that make us go to sleep are all very similar. So that's the idea behind this, what you were talking about.
So why did researchers choose flies to be the animal that they tested?
So we choose fruit flies because, first of all, I want to make clear that fruit flies, they're like the universal standard for genetic testing. Fruit flies, we use them for almost all genetic testing. They're easy to breed, they grow up fast, and they have very few chromosomes, so we can edit their DNA very easily. And second of all, as I said, it's been established for the past 20 years by scientists that fruit flies, they have the same sleeping mechanisms as, humans do. They sleep in the same way. And that's very important that, for the researchers to know that the animal actually sleeps. There are some animals, that sleeping isn't very clear. Like, for example, bacteria. Bacteria don't sleep. So, it was very important to the researchers that the subject actually slept.
Yeah, of course. So, what technique are they actually using to conduct their research?
So the technique they're using is also a very hot technique in the whole world of genetics biology called CRISPR. And I actually don't remember exactly what it stands for. It's a very long acronym. You can look it up. But what CRISPR essentially consists of, yeah, it was in the it was a big mouthful. Do you see that? But yeah, so CRISPR, what it essentially is, it's like real life gene editing. Like you ever see like sci-fi movies where they go in and edit genes in an animal, and we can actually do that now. And what they were doing with the research study is that they were going into these animals' genes and they were killing one specific gene and seeing what would happen. So if we have animal one with the normal genome, at fruit fly one with the normal genome and it sleeps, let's say it sleeps 5 hours a day. Fruit fly two, we kill the pig genome. That's what they were doing. They were getting that pig genome and they were taking it out of the animal while it was developing, and they let it grow up. And that new fruit fly sleeps 8 hours a day. So it would suggest that the presence of this gene causes you to sleep less.
So, what are sort of next steps after making this discovery?
So the next steps of this discovery, because went back to the Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania, a researcher, Amber Zimmerman, who I like to also include, won the whole Philadelphia Marathon, like the whole thing. But I digress. So we got results from her that it also goes on in zebrafish. So we got this link, fruit fly, zebrafish. So we're pretty sure that it's got a good chance of also having a role in sleep in humans. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go all the way back to that 23andMe data. We're gonna look into the genome and we're gonna look at humans who submitted their DNA to this company and volunteer to participate in biological studies. We're going to look through that data set and we're going to find people with mutated PIGQ genes. So the hope is Alex Keane and his group, they're going to bring him back to A&M and they're going to check their sleep, see if they got any irregularities in their sleep. And the hope is we can conclusively establish PIGQ is something that affects sleep disorders. And once we do that, we can solve all sorts of illnesses. Alex Keane, and I forgot to mention, he's the department head of biology at A&M. He's the one who's doing all this. His hope, he's saying that a lot of health problems are conclusively linked to sleep deprivation, and this is also a big area of research that's been going on for the past couple of years. Like diabetes, cancer, any sort of ailment you can name. Sleep deprivation is a big comorbidity. So his hope is that if we find out what causes sleep disorders, what causes people to sleep less, we can go a little bit in solving some of these big problems that are facing society.
Perfect. So, what would you say is the end goal of this research?
The end goal, as I said, his group and the end goal, as I said, is we want to solve these lots of health problems that seem to have a link to sleep deprivation. And I forgot to mention, Alzheimer's is a big one. I just want to emphasize that there's a mountain of research that conclusively and definitively suggests not getting enough sleep, and it's not always 8 hours. It varies per person. As we said, this genes seem to control a lot of it, but not getting enough sleep in general, it leads to lots of health problems, and it might be the new smoking of this generation, even with all our phones and technology. So that's the big goal of this whole project, to figure out why we have sleep disorders and try to go a little bit in curing that.
Gotcha. Well, the Alzheimer's runs in the female line in my family, so hopefully they make some progress on that. So I also know that you also did a story about the Korean ROTC students here at A&M. How was that? How was conversing with them?
So that was real fun. So, it was an off-the-cuff story. We didn't schedule it, we didn't plan or anything. I was coming back with Ishika Samant, who was our photo chief from from interviewing Alex Keane, who was the biologist. And we walked through the MSc food court, and we saw all these Korean cadets eating Pan Express. And I was like, we got to interview these guys. So, we walked up to one of the tables. We said, hey, we're the student media. Do you guys want to chat with us? And, they sent five of them over, and we brought them into the newsroom, all right? So, conversing with them, it was really fun. They had great English. Their English skills were phenomenal, flawless. They were great conversationalists, and it was really fun getting the perspective of Koreans who not just I'm a Chinese American, right, but not just Korean Americans, but Koreans right from the country of South Korea who came to America and were like for the first time experiencing the Texas culture, American culture,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really interesting to like pick their brains, see what they were enjoying, see what they found surprising about American culture. And it's a lot of things that you might not expect, right? One of the cadets said that they found co-ed dorms to be a very surprising thing that was non-existent. Like they didn't even think that was possible in South Korea. So and we think it's completely normal, right? So seeing
Right.
things like that, very interesting.
So, would you say that they had a big cultural shock coming here?
Not quite really. I feel like they seem pretty prepared to they seem pretty worldwide. We had one guy who was
Mm-hmm.
studying Russian literature, which I found was really interesting. I don't think we even have Russian literature over at A&M.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they seem very worldwide, and I think a lot of things. South Korea and us have a shared culture. We're great partners. That's why they're here. But yeah, I think that for the most part they were pretty prepared for America. I don't think it was like oh my goodness, right, when they showed up. But there were some little things that still slipped through the cracks to surprise them, like the co-ed dorms, like I mentioned. They found Panda Express very intriguing, which
I saw that in the article. I thought that was really funny.
I think it is too, because like Chinese people, Korean people, like they see Panda Express and it's completely foreign to them. Like it's not Asian food at all. So I thought that was funny, and I like hearing about that.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad that they're. Do you think that they are getting along? Do you think that they are embracing the Aggieland culture? What are some other differences or similarities that they might have talked about?
Oh, absolutely. They all love Aggieland, and they all. One of them said his favorite thing was the food here, and he's from Korea. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's allowed to complain about food in College Station after if he likes the food. I don't think any of us should complain about it, right? But yeah, they all liked A&M very much. They were really enjoying their time here, and it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see that, right? And people from all across the world can come to A&M and have this month as Aggies, and it's really like a global thing, and I think that's really cool. So it was a really neat article to write. It was really neat to talk to them, and if you see them in the MC, if you see them walking around campus, be sure to say hi. They're really nice guys.